all figured out way back then. And now it's this minute, this hour, this day, and this week the trend was to backstab every single one of my friends and leave a voicemail message trying to make amends, all the while hoping things work out in the end. And this week the trend was to borrow all the strength that you could lend to keep my head above the water and not descend back to where I said I'd never go again. So I say, give me a solution and watch me around with it. You gave me a solution, what have I done with it? Cause I was absolutely sure I had it all figured out way back then. But after this day, it's this week all over again. Wanna get mugged at knife point to get cut enough to wake me up, cause I know that I don't wanna die sitting around watching my life go by. And what we take from this is what we'll get, and we haven't quite figured it out just yet, because all of us are all too stuck, strapped to a chair watching our lives blow up, stuck watching our lives blow up.
Maggie Gressard, and from Moscow, Idaho. I grew up in a Christian home. I was adopted by wonderful Christian family. Sorry, emotional. I, about senior high freshman year, decided to go down my own path and started drinking, having sex with boys, and really just feeling hurt and a lot of pain. Just short story, my mom, my birth mom, is a mess, and the rest of my siblings are a mess, and a lot of times I just find myself wondering why he picked me to go into this family and why I have to suffer so much. And a lot of times I'd find myself beating myself up and just getting sick of acting like the perfect Christian girl, and just 3 years ago I finally accepted him as my personal savior, and it's definitely been rough and sketchy since then, but your walk with him doesn't ever change depending upon what you do, but he's always there for you, and your friends are always there for you, and your church family, which has been a huge blessing. I don't know what I would do without my youth pastors, and my friends, and I'm repeating myself. But he's amazing, and he can do wonderful things, and really work through those things and make you pure and happy again. So.
Hi, my name is Blair Crutchley. I go to West Valley Church of the Nazarene in Yakima, Washington. I found the Lord at 4 years old, really young age. I was always in church, always, doing the normal church thing, always hanging out with my friends from church. And my dad was a really strong Christian, and so it wasn't like it was anything out of the normal for me to be a Christian or go to church. And I got really close with one of our leaders in children's church, and basically put her in the place of God, and God basically took that relationship away, and I kept asking him, why would you take someone away who was helping me grow, helping me, be okay with all the drama that had been going on in my life. And he basically told me, I'm God, you can't put anyone else in my place. I mean, I am your father. There's no one else who's ever going to take that place, and that's gonna be me all the time. And it took me a while to realize that had to be okay. And I still continue to do the Christian thing, but I stopped kind of going to church on the regular basis. I stopped going like every Sunday, and that was hard for me, but at the same time I was like, no one really cares if I go or not, so it's not that big of a deal. And the last month, God really spoke to me. I have always gone to camp. I've always gone to every single youth event, because that's just how I got out of the house. I got out of the house and got away from all the drama that was at home, and I kept getting the mountaintop experience, as they say. And every week that I'd come back, I'd have the awesome feeling, and I'd be like, okay, I'm changed, I can do this. And I'd fall right back on my face and then want the mountaintop experience again. And my youth pastor's wife, Bethany, met with me when I was crying at the mission trip and said, when are you going to stop taking 2 steps backward? When are you going to finally allow God to take you to the next step and allow you to take the 2 steps forward instead of the 3 steps back? And that night I decided, it's time for me to stop being a little kid and, acting like I can do it by myself. And I can't explain it, but it's been awesome to be here right now on the last night of camp, not crying, not being upset about anything, and just being fully filled with God's presence right now is just super awesome for me. And I just encourage you that, if you're going through something and you feel like every time you go to camp you got the mountaintop experience, maybe you need to step back and think, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to change? How am I going to actually take what I've learned here and put it to good use? And know that He's really, really here with you. I mean, it's an awesome experience, and I don't even know what else to say other than God is amazing, and He's going to do amazing things with you if you just allow Him to take that time. So, thank you.
My name is Cameron Cordes, Cammy for short. I'm from Nampa, Idaho. I was born to 2 Christian parents and was raised a Christian. I seemed to live the perfect little Christian life with my parents and my 2 brothers until about 2 weeks before my 10th birthday. My dad was coming home from work, my mom was out with some friends, and my dad was killed in a car wreck. We had a lot of issues past that. My middle brother, Austin, afterwards didn't know how to deal with it, and so he took his anger out on me. He would threaten to beat me within an inch of my life, and at one point actually chased me down with a metal pole. And I guess on top of that, I didn't have a safe haven at home, and then to add to it, at school, ever since I was little, I was harassed on how I looked. Constantly, not only by the girls, but the guys too. It got to the point where I actually attempted suicide about halfway through my freshman year. Afterwards, I ended up in the hospital for a few hours to make sure I wasn't completely injured or to the point where I'd still have issues. And the police were brought in, and the main girl, this girl named Katie, was basically told if she ever said anything to me again, she would be arrested for bullying, which in the state of Idaho is very illegal. I guess after my dad's wreck, I blamed God for everything. I didn't understand why. Why did it have to happen to me? What did I ever do to deserve it? Why my family? Why did my dad have to be taken away from me? Why did my brother have to take his anger out on me? Why did the kids have to choose me to pick on? I didn't understand it. I guess I was so young I didn't understand exactly what was going on. I didn't fully understand the part of my dad being not in my life anymore, and how the effects would affect me forever. And so, I guess I learned from this, it's not just, it's a gift and a curse. It's a curse because it's something I'd never want anyone, but it's also a gift since God gave me it so that I can help others that have the same situation.
My name is Connor Buckingham, and to be honest, I'm not really sure why I'm here. Because I guess I'm just here so that maybe my testimony will help someone else in their walk of faith. As a junior higher, our youth group didn't have very good leaders, simply because our youth pastor left right as I joined the youth group, and then we were replaced by another man named Rusty, and Rusty did a great job leading everybody, except for the fact that Rusty was too busy to see some of the inner problems going on, because if he was just a fill-in, and Rusty had kids and another job. And so our youth group was kind of a rough place. If you were older, you automatically had seniority, and you would take the right of seniority in any means necessary, which included beating up the younger kids. So I actually had some physical attacks in my old youth group as a junior higher. And then when I became a senior higher, I wanted to fix all those problems for the ones following after me. My freshman year, I was asked to start leading worship at my youth group by Eric, who became our new youth pastor. And I actually hadn't been playing guitar very long at all, and I was not practicing it very much, but eventually I became the leader, and I had to lead with some of the older kids who I actually had problems with in the past. But eventually they actually accepted me as their leader, which was surprising, and I ended up becoming the worship leader, and I still am today. I actually ended up becoming the senior high representative for the NYI Council, and I began just going crazy with all of the outreach programs and making my own outreach programs. But this last year was actually the hardest year, I would say, of my life. Eric and Kelly, they left, so I was without a youth pastor, and I was really close with them, so that was hard. Around the same time, relationships were ending. Some of the people that were big members in my life started to get sick and die. I've attended several funerals this year, and it's always a sad thing to see, but I actually became really bitter because I had some fights with some of my friends, some of my close friends, and we're all past those fights, but I realized that I was always still bitter, and I had never let go of it. Tonight's probably the first night I've ever said it to anybody more than one at a time, and I just realized that I want to go back to what I had felt freshman year. I had felt this rush of energy from God, and I lost that somewhere along the way this year, and I want to get back to that, just so that I can become the leader that I think I'm called to be, and so that I can make those following me have a better time in the youth group than I did. Just because if everybody can do better than the ones before them, then the world can be a great place if we can just keep one-upping the previous guy. That was kind of my thought of it. I don't know what else to say except for the fact that when it gets hard, don't turn away, and to keep following on your instincts that you've been given through the teachings of Jesus and just everything that you've learned over the past from other examples of other Christians.
Well, my name is Garrett Morrison. I attend church with Connor Buckingham, Spokane. I am 14 years old. I'm going to the 9th grade. Sorry if my voice crackles, I've been yelling a lot. Well, I'm going to talk about letting go of stuff. Like, I've been jealous about a lot of people, like what they have, or like the possessions and like people they have in their life. And like, why don't I have those people and want to have like good skills at stuff? And well, it's kind of hard to let go of stuff, but like DeAndre, the 13-year-old skateboarder guy, said that like God knows your plans and he knows what he has in store for you, and that plans to not to harm you but to prosper you. So it's like, it doesn't matter what's going wrong in your life, what's going right in your life. It's all about like that God knows what's happening, and it's not matter if you're like the best star on a football team or the worst kid at school. God knows what's going to happen, and you've got to trust him and stuff. So it's kind of hard to like not be jealous of some people and like wish I had that and why don't I have this, but it's God gives you these talents. Like, I have talents to work with kids. I do upward basketball at our church, and I'm a ref. Used to be a coach. I commission and I do all that fun stuff with kids, and that's just my talent to do with kids. So it's just really fun to use your talents that God gave you, not trying to get people's talents that God gave them. So it's just, you gotta stick with it when you don't think it's right, and just that use your talents that God gives you and not the ones that God gave other people. So.
Hi, I'm Sarah Brew. I go to the Moscow Church of the Nazarene, and I would like to share my testimony because God told me to. So, when I was 13, I started getting unsure of my faith. I didn't know exactly how this Christian thing worked. I had already given my life to Christ, but that was only because I had to. And so I was trying to help a friend during that time, and my friend had tons of problems. They had tried to kill themselves several times, and one time we had an argument, and they had tried to kill themselves right after the argument, and I blamed myself. And I had been so confused and so distressed that this person was in that deep of trouble of life. And so I tried to punish myself, and a couple days afterwards I started cutting. I totally bluffed it out. I acted like all happy. I acted like life had nothing wrong for me. I was happy with my friends, and whenever they asked like what the cuts on my arms were, and I said they were from a cat or from a nail that was sticking out of a wall. I never told them the truth. Everybody thought I was the perfect kid. Nobody ever doubted that I trusted and believed in God and that I could praise Him without anybody bringing me down. Unfortunately, I told a friend, and they told everybody that they thought cared for me. And so there was rumors going around our youth group and stuff like that, and I was just feeling guilty for all this. I was feeling shame. I was feeling like I wasn't worthy to come back to God. I was feeling like if I did anything or said anything to God, that He would condemn me. It was like I was trying to hide my problem from God. Until one time He just told me, you need to tell your parents, you need to tell me. You will never be able to live in joy until you get it out. So I told Him, and He told me to tell my parents. I told my parents, and I cried so much because I thought they would just be shocked and ashamed of me, but they just comforted me because they had been through life already, and they know exactly what I was going through. And then I still felt guilty. I still felt like I had to prove to God that I wasn't going to do that anymore, that life was behind me. And I just came before Him one night, and I said, God, I know I have done all this stuff, and I do not feel worthy of your love. He gave me a hug, basically. He surrounded me with His love. And in that moment, I knew how much He loved me, that it was far more than I could ever imagine. And He showed me how much I could love Him for what He had done for me. It was just a huge event, and I just want to tell people, you can never do something so horrible that you can't come back to God. The reason why He died on the cross was exactly for the mistakes you made. And that's what I found out through this time. To know that no matter what I do, if I even tried to take my life or something, that He would always be willing to welcome me back without any hesitation at all. I just want to encourage people that you can never go too far from God.
My name is Amy LaFleur, and a lot of you may know me as a very shy girl that doesn't really express herself or talks a lot. A lot of you guys may not know my past or what I've been through. I want to sit here today and tell you how Jesus and God has touched my life and how happy I am to have Him in my life. Well, I'll start with saying that when I was very young, my parents were very abusive. My dad was. He was a very good person. It was just drugs and alcohol that really made him the person that no one wants to be around with. My mom was kind of the same way. She never really did anything. She just kind of stood there and just like judged me, and I'm sorry. My mom would hurt me a lot. She would put me in front of a mirror and would tell me how ugly I was and how no one would love me. because how ugly I was. And that was really hard for me because I didn't understand why she would do that to me. I loved her so much and I looked up to her so much that I thought she was right and that there must be something wrong with me. This is very hard, but I honestly, during those times I gave up on God. I thought, you must not love me also because I'm ugly, and my mom, she doesn't even love me, and you must not love me either. I'm so sorry. But years passed and my parents never changed. They kept doing the same things, same mistakes, and that's when we got into foster care. My 3 sisters and my 2 brothers were separated. My 2 sisters stayed with me, and my brothers were separated. And we never saw him. We never talked to him really, and I honestly thought that God would never let me have that opportunity to live with them. But I'm sitting here today. My brother Jesse's out in the crowd, probably seeing me right now. We live with them, and this is so hard. But Teresa and Troy, they accepted us into their lives and opened their heart and let us 2 girls live with her. And so right now they're adopting us, gonna adopt us, and we're living with our 2 brothers, and I'm really happy. I honestly have given my life to God, and I thank Him every single day that He finally put us together, and just that He's here with me today, and that He loves me. I hope that none of you guys think that you're ugly in any way, or that you're afraid that somebody's gonna judge you because how you look, or that you think that your looks is why God loves you. That's not true. God loves you no matter what you look like, any shape and size. You're God's creation, and you should never forget that. And He loves you, and as I love you too.
I'm Abby Rudaba, and I'm going to be a junior this year, and I go to the Nazarene in St. Mary's. When I was 5, my dad joined the military, and so that's all I've known is military lifestyle, and we've moved a lot. And then my dad, with the stress that he had, started drinking more. And 2 years ago he came back from his 4th deployment, and things got kind of rough then, because then from us being best friends, we became just not talking at all. And last year, I believe it was 4th of July, and he got really drunk. He passed out right in front of my little brother who was playing in the sand, and I had to take them away into my room. And one day at school, my teacher pulled me aside and told me that I had to wait outside the school for my mom and not to ride the bus. And I was very confused about it. One day my dad just told my mom that I was a whore, and he wasn't proud of me at all, and that we were not allowed to go to church anymore, and if he found out that his kids had anything to do with church, that he was going to do something about it. And it hurts. And I made mistakes because I just quit caring. And one day I just decided that it didn't matter anymore, and I started smoking. And my little sister is gonna hear this, and she's like my life, and I know that she's hurting too. But I finally found that if you don't have a father, or he's just not really a good father, that God's there, and he's my father now, and he's going to be my father figure. And even though my worldly father is not the best, I still love him, and I'm willing to move forward and still pray for him.